everybody, Jane here, and today I'm going to talk a little bit more about ghostwriting, um, particularly what you need to consider before you start your ghostwriting career, start trying to make a ghostwriting career. And the first of those things is, what are you looking to do? Are you just trying to earn some money while you write your novel? Are you trying to get your name out there? Do you want to go full time, or do you just want to ghostwrite, 3 or 4 hours a day like I do? And how you want things to turn out will really influence what you're doing from the start. So just be aware of your long-term goals, even if you're not going to be able to meet them right away. It can take a while if you want to go full-time to do that, particularly if your writing speed isn't very fast. You should be looking at, how much money do I want to make from this? How much do I need to make if this is going to be your full-time income, and maybe this is the only job you have? You're going to really have to put in a lot more time and effort than if it's a part-time gig for you. When I started, I was wanting it to be a full-time gig, but it didn't end up working out that way for me. And I'll go into that a little bit more in the money section, but just be aware of what you want and of what's possible and what effort that possibility is going to take. So one thing to consider is, how much money do you need to make from this? Ghostwriting is really great if it's something that is mostly for extra money, but it's a lot harder if that's going to be your full-time income. I'd originally intended for it to be my full-time income, but the ebbs and flow just wasn't going to work for me. I'm the only income provider for my family, and if I don't make the money, I can't pay the bills. If you want to do it full-time, I would recommend having some money saved up so that when there are downtimes, when you don't have orders, you're not panicking, you're not freaking out, because sometimes there aren't orders. Sometimes no matter what you're doing, your clients just are on break, or they're doing other things, or they don't have the funds to hire you. And then what tends to happen, at least for me, is I'll have like a week with no orders, and then I'll get like 5 back to back, and then I have to really hustle to catch up. So, but that means that for that week, I was back when I was doing it part-time or full-time, trying to do it full-time, I was in the office trying to get new clients. And now I just do other things and work on my own novels because I'm not actively seeking new clients. But you've got to consider those things. How are you going to handle not having a regular steady income? Can you handle it? How much do you have to earn to make all of your bills if you're doing this to pay your bills? Right now, for me, I have to make $50 a month, which I've never not made $50 a month. It'll happen one of these months, but so far I always make at least 50, and it's usually several hundred. But to pay the minimum on my student loans, most of the money I make through ghostwriting goes on loans and on debt. But again, that's no longer my full-time job. But at one time, I was trying to make a go of making it full-time. So how can you guesstimate how much you can make as a ghostwriter? Well, there's a couple things you need to think about math-wise. And the first one is, how much can you write an hour? For me, I can write about 1,000 words in an hour. So then the next question is, how much are people paying you per word? I make about a penny a word. So by the time everything is said and done, I'm making about $10 per hour from my writing, if all I'm doing is writing and I don't have to do a lot of research and I'm being productive. Now, for me, because I'm on Fiverr takes 20% of that. So I'm making about $8 an hour, which is not quite, it's not a great, amazing wage. You might find on other marketplaces that you can make a lot more than I do. On the other hand, for me right now, one reason I haven't sought out other marketplaces to try for a higher price per word is because I'm not trying to become a full-time ghostwriter anymore. And I'm not even, for the most part, taking new clients. So that's not really an issue for me. But if you're just starting out and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to make, $20 or $30 an hour, if you can't find a marketplace that sustains that, you may not be able to make big money. You might be making $8 an hour. And if you are, is that going to be worth it to you? And for some people, the answer is yes. When I have kids and I'm divorced. When I was a wife, it would have been totally worth it to me to work from home and, put in time during the day, the five hours a day while, the kids were at school type thing. But as the sole provider for my family, I it's not going to work when I can make more than that at my day job. So, be mindful of those things. Figure out how much you can write in a day without feeling burned out. When I first started, I could do about 5,000 words a day before I really felt burned out and really hit that wall of, okay, I just can't write anymore. These days, I actually am lower. I tend to feel burnout after about 3,000 words. So, assuming for a second that I'm number one, working at my best, number two, on a private client and not a Fiverr client, because I do have a few private clients still. I'm making on a good day about $30. Now, $30 in 30 days is a pretty significant amount, but if it's not necessarily what some people want to make full time. So, just be aware of your marketplace, be aware of what you can do, be aware of when you'll hit burnout. And when I was trying to go full time, I had really unreasonable expectations when I did the math. I was fairly recently divorced and I wanted to be home with my kids and they were still fairly young, but I thought I'm going to ghostwrite 10 hours a day because at 10 hours a day, I figured that would be about $100 a day, and that was pretty good money, again, for private clients, not Fiverr clients. The math's just easier for private clients. It would have been $80 a day for a Fiverr client, so $100 a day for a private client. 10,000 words. And I learned really quickly that I cannot do 10,000 words a day. Not to mention I didn't, especially at that point in my career, have that many clients. Like I didn't have enough that people were buying 10,000 words a day. So, make sure you keep your expectations reasonable. Make sure you have some kind of financial backup so that if you have, some downtime, you're not going to not be able to pay your bills. Be reasonable about what you can do. Know what your long-term goals and expectations are. I've made some notes, so let me just see if there's anything I'm missing. Work-life balance. One challenge of being a ghostwriter can be that since you work from home, you feel like you're always at work. And I have been totally guilty of this many times. I'm getting better at it. And that is, don't answer clients when you're not having office hours. Have a specific time that you are in your office, that you are doing your writing, that you're answering clients, that you're communicating. Otherwise, you will be spending all day with your clients. Because I have that Fiverr app on my phone. And so, a little icon would appear, you have a message. And so I'd go in and see what whoever wanted, especially when I was, again, trying to do it more full time. And I literally was sending messages back and forth for hours a day, when if I'd have done it in one segmented amount of time, it wouldn't have felt like hours a day, and it wouldn't have taken up so much of my personal time. You don't want to be on the clock all the time. You want to just, get in for the first 30 minutes you're in office hours, check your messages. If you need to respond to clients, go ahead, then work. Then when you're done, check your messages again. And then at that point, shut it down and go have a life. Because otherwise it can get very consuming. And you may feel like, oh, I need to push myself. And sometimes you do. I have some deadlines coming up that I need to handle. And my office hours as I have it set up, probably I won't get everything done. So I'm going to need to push myself a little bit and probably, quote, work over. But normally I don't do that. Normally I work 3 hours a day, 2 to 3 hours a day ghostwriting. And that's usually 5 days a week. Sometimes I do have to make it 6, and this week it'll probably be 6. But I try for 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, because that just, for me, is reasonable with my full-time job, with my children, with my own writing. So work-life balance is really important. even though you're working from home, don't let it consume you and don't let it take you away from the other important things. If you're married, your husband, your children, yourself. Make sure you are practicing self-care. Don't try to do 10 hours a day of ghostwriting if that's really not what's right for you. Don't try to push yourself to the point that you get burned out. That's another thing. Burnout is a very, very real thing. And make sure that you are pacing yourself and taking care of yourself, because if you burn out, you may not be able to produce well. I've had a couple times, especially when I got started, that I didn't pace myself and I wasn't being aware of the signals my brain was sending me. Like I would feel kind of foggy and almost painful, and I just kept going. And then I would hit the point where I couldn't create. It was like my brain stopped working. And that's one of the reasons I've also cut back to about 3,000 words a day as opposed to the 5. I could do 5, but I was getting burned out a lot. Whereas with 3, I can do that steadily and not get burned out. Again, is that enough for a full-time income? Not for me, not as the sole provider of my family, but for you, it might be. Maybe you have a partner that makes good money. Maybe you have, maybe you're single and 3 hours a day or even 4 hours a day would be enough. Or maybe your production numbers are faster. Maybe you are a much quicker writer than I am. All of those factors are very personal. So just be aware of those things and know yourself. And I think that's the big notes that I had that I wanted to really share with everybody who's considering being a ghostwriter. I do love ghostwriting. I want to make sure that, I know I've kind of said some stuff that's not so great about it, but overall I love it. It was a great choice. I don't regret doing it, but it is a lot of time and it is a lot of responsibility, and sometimes it's really hard. And there are days that I like it a lot less than other days. Even though I'm kind of on deadline right now, I'm really enjoying my time as a ghostwriter. But there are definitely times when there's too much work that needs done and I'm not feeling creative and it's hard and I have to push through that, but it's not always enjoyable. And also, sometimes the clients are a little rough. My next videos are going to be the 5 things I love about ghostwriting and then 5 things I don't love about ghostwriting. So make sure you catch those if you're interested in becoming a ghostwriter. I've also written a book on ghostwriting, so if you want a little more information than I'm giving in these videos, feel free to check it out. It is on Amazon, and I'm pretty sure it's enrolled in Kindle Unlimited, so if you have a Kindle Unlimited subscription, you can read it for free. At this point, it is only an ebook. Maybe someday it'll be an audio. Maybe by the time you watch this, if you're not watching it in August 2018, maybe check and see if it's an audiobook or a paperback, because those are kind of on my radar down the line, but I'm busy with other things right now. It's just not a priority. So if this was helpful, please like. If you have questions for me, comment, and subscribe if you want more content. See you next time. Bye.